If you had to name a metaphor or a picture of what our team environment is like, right? What would that metaphor be like? What's that picture? Like if you had to say that. What's our team environment like?
God, this
Hard
is
hop?
not light.
No, Cam always has a funny picture in her
I have
mind.
a funny picture in my mind.
Okay, share your funny picture.
I'd say it's a swimming pool.
Oh my God, I kind of was thinking swimming pool too. Yeah.
It's like you
Unpack
can.
that metaphor.
It's like when you're coming through the gantry, regardless of whatever skills you may come in with, you swim and you learn how to swim. And that's like why I'm imagining a swimming pool. And that's what I feel this place is like for me. It's like I am learning and relearning and unlearning a lot of those bad habits that I have, or like fears that I have, you know. So that's why it's like, I don't know, it just popped up as a swimming pool for me. Yeah.
And when you first entered the team, did you feel like you got to take like baby steps at the shallow end, or were you like, you had to jump right into the deep end of the pool?
Like I said, I was observing
From the side,
from the
not
side.
jumping into the pool
I was
just
observing
yet.
from the
Lifeguard,
side.
lifeguard.
Yeah, I wanted to see who is swimming, how they're swimming, whether or not I can join in with the swimming. Can I jive or do I leave? Yeah. So that's why it felt like that to me. Yeah. Swimming pool.
I love that. That's really vivid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm thinking of a sandbox.
Oh. Okay.
Sandbox, everyone's playing with sand.
Yeah.
Everyone can do whatever they want with the sand. They can build sandcastles, they can dig holes, they can go high, they can go low. But we all have the same resources. We all have the same things that we can play around with. But what we make of them and what we want to do with each other with those resources is totally up to us to take lead on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's really nice. And if I could get you to lean into that metaphor, like how are the kids playing in the sandbox? They throwing sand at each other.
Yeah, Cam's just like sitting at the swings, lurking and watching.
Eating a lollipop, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think in my mind I'm seeing, oh, this is so funny. I'm seeing like TCR build up the sandcastle, like our training team building up a sandcastle. And then we're just all like in different corners of the sand pit, doing our own thing, but doing it together. Yeah, so I think I'm just kind of digging holes and like doing whatever, figuring things out, making whatever it is that I want to make at that moment. But we're all just there. We're all just there having a good time-ish until we get like sand in our pants and shoes and everything. You know, so it's like, it's not the best place, but it's not the worst place. But we are doing the best we can in that space.
I think the metaphor that comes up for me, and maybe it's because like we keep having these like team monthly lunches. It's like, yeah, when I think of our team, I think of just that table that is set up and everybody gets to eat whatever they want to eat and talk whatever they want to talk, but we are doing it together.
Yeah.
And I think that I really appreciate the togetherness that we have. I think it's precious. I think there's a lot of work being put in that's under the surface and above the surface.
Yep.
Yeah. And I definitely want to name that I think the element of teamwork that I see is not necessarily because I, let's say as the leader of the org, like did that work, but like everybody is doing that work.
Yep.
And without everyone doing their own self-work and doing their own interpersonal repair of relationships and strengthening of relationships, I don't think we would have like this big thing called like team work. Yeah. And I'm really curious about like how, for both of you on a working level, what do you do that is working very well in creating more safety for each other? And because for sure there are moments where like, you know, things get rubbed the wrong way and all that. But what do you think has been quite well done by yourselves or by others in the team that brings up the level of safety, despite like everyday rub the wrong way tension, sand in the backside kind of like
friction.
Yeah. Yes.
Burning friction.
Let's not go there, Cam. For real, it's like, yeah. Like, I want to keep it like real for people. Like, actually, what can real people do in real teams? Yeah, what's been working really well for you guys?
I'm appreciative of us having the language to talk about hard things. So that definitely helps, because when it's already a hard thing to talk about, it's hard to talk about. But then because we can talk about it in a way that is safe and in a way that has actionable next steps, you know, like, okay, is there anything you would like to offer to that person? Is there any request that I would like to make? Things like that. I think that helps move things along without being like, okay, so what do you want? What do you need? I'm practicing asking people what they need from me. When they're talking to me and sharing all these things about themselves with me, I would try and make it a point to ask, do you need me to process something with you? Do you need me to tell you what your next steps are? Do you what do you want me to share with you? Or like, what is your intentions of sharing all of this with me? So that I know how you need me to show up for you, versus I just project whatever it is that I am carrying with me onto you.
I noticed that you do that. The asking what is it that I want to talk about, or like what is the next steps. So that helps me like kind of gather my brain and like, okay, this is what I think will be helpful for me at that point in time. Yeah.
And I'm hearing you name like it helps you gather your brain. What that's surfacing for me is like one of the key differences that we regularly and happily put on the table as a team is that some of us are more mind or head dominant. Some of us are very heart dominant, and some of us are very like instinctual, go by the gut. It turns out that most of our team is head dominant, which means we are very geared towards thinking and also very gut oriented, which is doing. So it's about thinking and doing. And then heart oriented, like what? Is it 2 people?
Yeah,
3.
I think so. 2, 3.
Yeah,
3.
about 3 people out of 8, right? Which is like more in the I want to feel, right? I want to feel first. So could you unpack like how that, even that little difference can pan out in, let's say, a work meeting or a work situation?
When I go into work conversations, it comes out as paragraphs when someone talks to me. So then it's, I think I talked about this with Azrin before about like, what is it that she first noticed when she goes into work conversations. So she said she notices the vibes and like how everyone is feeling, if I'm not wrong, in the conversation. But for me, it's like, what is the information that is there that I need to know?
I'm very thinking dominant and also very comfortable with the doing, right? And that's just because of work. So it is, feeling is a practice for me rather than an instinct, right? So it's almost like foreign, the concept, when I hear like Azrin's first thing that she notices is, how's everyone feeling in the meeting?
Yeah, I was so like, oh my God, that's so tiring, Azrin. But how do you do it?
But that's what comes naturally to me, ma. Like how paragraphs come into your head. Like it takes work for me to process what people are saying and to receive information. But I can get a sense of what the vibes are in the room, why people might not be, or like why the vibes might be off. Is it like a power thing? Is it like something going on, you know? And that affects the way that the information is being exchanged. Other people's emotions and feelings feel like noise. So the only way to shut it off is to get out of the noise lah. I have like a fishbowl in front of me, and whatever people are sharing is not mine to take in. So their emotions are their emotions. I'm purely there to hold that space for them. If you were my teammate last year, oh my goodness, like you would not see me lah, because I think I would be so overwhelmed with the emotions that you, or not emotions, or like the experiences that you share with me, that I just cannot hold that for you. And not because I don't want to, but I'm just not my container not big enough lah, basically. But then now I'm better able to separate myself and the person that I'm talking to, so that my container is always filled by me and me alone, and the other person's container is filled by the other person that I'm holding that space for. So it is intentional practice for me to separate and separate and separate. Otherwise, I cannot do this work at all. Yeah.
What I see is like the boundaries for those people who tend to engage in life with like, I want to feel, the boundaries are naturally like more porous, right? And then the learning seems to be, let me like learn to define it a bit bolder, even like harden it. And that's not a bad thing. Yeah, because like when I hear it from my think first kind of thing, right? Like holding that nice firm boundary is not the issue, you know? It's like the learning for me is more about making that boundary porous enough so that relating and feeling can happen. Right? And I think for think first people like me, I'll own my stuff, is like the habit is more to think about the person, think about their feelings rather than relate and connect to their feelings. Which I know sounds completely like alien.
How does that even happen?
Oh my God, that's so true. That's actually what I have to do as well.
That's
like,
because we're both thinking.
I think,
what does that even mean?
So I literally, if I see you like do certain things, I think so and so is sad because so and so is doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think so and so is sad. So I will ask so and so if so and so is sad to clarify that information in my head.
Hypothesis,
Yeah.
okay.
Like I literally can't tell.
But you think it what?
Yeah, so I have to mark, like there's a checklist in my head.
Okay.
So then I'll be like, okay, so if then the checklist goes into a flow chart and it's like, okay, so after this, like what do I do? If this person wants to do this, then okay, this will go into this decision.
Oh my God. That is exhausting.
No, I know it's terrible. And I'll out myself, right? Like, I'll give you a classic example. So my husband is heart oriented, which means he actually feels first, right? So there was once he landed in a hospital and I'm so sorry, darling, that you're hearing this. But I own my stuff. So he's in hospital and in my head, I think it's not serious.
Okay.
I mean, he's in there for a week, but it's like, more so that the hospital can put him on a water drip, so it's not a life or death situation. There is pain involved. See, even the way I'm talking about it is this terrible
It's a checklist, right?
analysis, right? So welcome to the inner world of the terrible head dominant people. So I'm thinking like it makes a lot of rational sense. Like I will visit him, like, when, okay, the kid's back from school, blah, 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 blah. But it's not from a feeling-centered point of view where like, what does this person need from me right now?
Yeah.
How might they be feeling? It's more from this analysis. And that's what it means to think about a person and think about how they feel rather than feel what they feel.
Yes.
Right? Because I think when you feel what a person feels, the answer is obvious. But when you think about how they feel, it leads you down a completely separate track.
Yeah.
Right? And what happened is I basically didn't visit.
Okay.
As soon as I should have.
Oh no.
And then I visited at the time, which I thought made a lot of sense. See, this is terrible, right? And then I saw he was like really upset with me that like, why didn't you like visit sooner? It's like, you don't care like that, And like, and it was completely like new for me that, oh, I see.
I think even hearing you respond in the "oh, I see" is shocking to me.
Shocking and offensive to you, right? As a heart-oriented person.
I'm telling you that I'm upset.
Yes, I know. So you see, so I have to learn. So my learning, right, is like when people are feeling a thing. See, I have
That's
to
so funny.
learn to make feeling the first port of call.
Yeah.
Right, which is right now, hold back what you might want to do, hold back what you might be thinking of the situation, just turn it off. And right now, all you got to do is just open up the boundary, make it more porous, and just use your physical senses like to feel.
Yeah.
To just connect with a person like they are a fellow human being. And I know it sounds like offensive to a heart-oriented person, right? But even the head-oriented person, right? You don't actually feel the humanness of things. But I'm really good at thinking about the humanness of things.
Oh my God, that's so true.
I just don't understand any of this.
That's so true. Oh no.
Yeah, but even just basically being able to appreciate that we are all thinking, feeling, doing creatures, but we have our hardwired habits. And this in and of itself creates like a lot of like miscommunication and issues between people.
Yeah. This actually reminds me of something that happened with my sister yesterday. So she borrowed one of my t-shirts or something, and then she was ironing it, and then she burned a hole in the shirt.
Oh, no.
And then I just brought it up with her.
Okay.
And then I told her like I was very upset by it then 10 years ago because she was very nonchalant about it.
Yeah.
Like she didn't care. And then in that moment she turned to me, she was like, did I make you sad?
10 years later.
I was so stunned because it was are you really asking me this 10 years later? But I was actually quite shocked that she almost finally made that connection that I would have reactions and emotions attached to that story and like to that piece of clothing or whatever.
It also reminded me of last time Azrin asked me, so Cam, how do you feel about this thing that happened? And I was like, give me a while.
Give me 3 to 5 business days.
So I literally took
5 working days.
It's true. I literally took like 3 days to get back to Azrin. Actually, that day, it made me feel this. So it took me like 3 days to even understand what I am feeling myself.
I think that is also helpful for us because of my awareness of what you need. I'm not forcing you to be like, give me an answer now. Give me an answer now.
Yeah.
And then when you are ready, you kind of like come.
I couldn't even give you an answer then. That's what's like.
I know it's sort of like a insider joke that we have, like you use that phrase like give me like 3 to 5 working days, right? But actually it's a great intervention in many ways because you're literally telling us like I do need 3 to 5 working days to give you a proper response to how did I feel about that. Or like I don't actually understand how I feel right now about, let's say, that project or that conversation, and I do need that time to process. And I think even just saying that gives permission, and it's a jokey statement, so it gives lightness.
Yeah.
But I think it's quite a beautiful phrase actually, and I'm actually very appreciative about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I have something that I want to talk about, I will turn to Azrin and I'll say, Azrin, do you have a minute or two for me to share what is going on for me at like right now? Because my feelings just come over the place, right? So I just needed if I needed that 2 minutes and she said no, then I'm fine with that no. And then I'll check back in later when she has more time. And I guess that's something that I'm learning to practice more often.
I think that exchange has been helpful, not just for you to process whatever's going on for you, but also for me to manage how I show up. Because I think the harder part of the work for me is trying to guess what people need. So if you take that away from me, I can be 100% there for you. So then the energy is not being spent unnecessarily. Yeah.
What I'm hearing is how organic and how simple culture building and team building can look like. It looks like very big words, very hard words. But like even you making that decision to, I'm going to lean to my peer right now and say like, can I have 2 minutes of your time? And let's relate a bit. And you're giving her some specific scaffolding that you need. That is culture being formed.